There is something special inside you.
Welcome to GNG Podcast with your host, speaker, best-selling author, Chaz Jackson.
What's going on, kings and queens? It's your boy Chaz Jackson coming back to you once again, representing GNG Gifting and Gift. Hey, I personally just want to take the time to tell each and every one of you, thank you for giving me your eyes and your ears once again. It's great to dive deep into some inspiration that I pray will plant like a seed in your mind and assist you in becoming a greater version of yourself. I am super excited about episode 21. We have a powerhouse champion of a speaker that's going to come on, shine some light, give some golden nuggets. Go ahead and take the time to get your pen and paper ready to go. There's going to be some value given as we dive into the theme, Granddaddy Secrets. My man Daniel Blanchard is going to shine some light. And before I bring him on the camera, let you guys know and learn more from him, I want to give the mission of this platform. And it's to provide tips and techniques for young males as they strive to develop their personal development. And also, I want you to take this daily challenge with me to become a passionate visionary who is determined to leave a legacy for themselves by adopting unwavering life values and serving others in the area of gifting led by God. And gosh, man, whether you a student listening to me right now, parent, teacher, youth advocate, go ahead and share this out. You want to stay all the way to the end. Daniel has a special surprise for you viewers, listeners. So stay tuned in to the end of this show. And let me go ahead and read off this short bio on my man Daniel. And Dan Blanchard is a best-selling and award-winning author, speaker, and educator. Also, did I mention that he's a TV host? He's a two-time junior Olympian wrestler and two-time junior Olympian wrestling coach who grew up as a student athlete. You know, Dan admits that as a youth, he was more of an athlete than a student. Dan has now successfully completed 14 years of college and has earned 7 degrees. He teaches special education and social studies in Connecticut's largest inner city high school, and he's affiliated with so many personal development attributes leading up to this show to bring more value to you guys. This guy has written multiple books and he's ready to share his value on GNG Livestream podcast. Are you ready to get it, King Dan?
Heck yeah. Chaz, thank you for that amazing introduction. Love the introduction, love your energy. And one of the things I loved the best was earlier when you mentioned about becoming the better version of yourself. I think that that's my lifelong mission, your lifelong mission, and I think that should be everybody's lifelong mission. I just think it makes people happier, because they're seeing progress. They're becoming more confident in themselves, and then that brings happiness. And when they're happy with who they are and who they're developing into and who they can see themselves soon becoming, they walk around with an aura, where things don't bother them. You know what I'm saying? And they go out and they spread the light. You know what I'm saying? They make the world a better place. So imagine bumping into those people. I'm saying, somebody brushes up against them, that's not a problem. They turn on, hey, brother, what can I help you with? You know what I'm saying? What can I do for you? You know what I'm saying? They don't get like angry or upset at people. Instead, their confidence, their self-esteem, their positive outlook on life, it's infectious on other people. And that comes all down to what you're all about, Chaz, what your show is all about building that better version. And I say that to people sometimes, and they're like, but Dan, you already done this and that and this. And I'm like, dude, that's nothing compared to where I can go. You know what I'm saying? That stuff's in the rearview mirror. And I'm happy that it's there. I'm proud of the stuff I've accomplished. And I think it's pretty cool. And I'm not even an old man yet. And I've accomplished those things. But again, those things are in the rearview mirror. So I want to keep going and doing bigger and better things all the time so I can become a higher quality person, like the people you're raising up on this show, Chaz. You know what I'm saying? And I got that's something special that I can give to other people out there and make this world a better place, even if it is only one person at a time. I'm going to make this world a better place, just like you and your show is doing, Chaz.
Beautiful, Dan. Thank you so much for diving deep into that aspect. And our motto on this show is we're all gifted differently to make a difference. And there's a ton of difference makers that's watching this. You are a powerhouse difference maker. And I know I read off that bio and you kind of elaborated a little bit more based off of what I shared. But is there anything else that comes to mind that you would like the audience to know about yourself?
Absolutely. And it's kind of funny because I was just talking to a guy. He's actually a playwright, and he's writing a play on me,
Wow.
based on my life, which is like really cool. And this guy's had some plays that have hit Broadway and stuff like that. But he said something to me that other people have said to me before. And then the story was, well, Dan, you got 14 years of college, 7 degrees. You were a super athlete, a huge part of a state championship football team, 2-time junior Olympian wrestler, the coach. You're a double veteran, Army, infantry, front line, also Air Force, veteran. And it's like, it kind of almost seems like you've had like this silver spoon of success in your mouth your entire life. So why should people listen to you? How is anybody going to relate to you? And I say, whoa, hold on, time out. Dude, I didn't start here. You know what I'm saying? I was the little dysfunctional kid from a dysfunctional, abusive, poverty-stricken home, with an abusive father who was challenged with some of his own mental health issues and who's heavily self-medicated on alcohol and was angry all the time. I went through school being like self-conscious because I was like, I couldn't read that good. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't really even get into college. That's why I had to go to the Army first, so I could go to the Army and bet on myself and then have a chance later of getting into college. I'm like, that's where I come from. So if I can come from there, I wasn't born with some guy saying, hey, I want to write a chapter of my book about you. Hey, I want to write a play based on your life. Hey, can you jump on my podcast show? You know what I'm saying? I wasn't born that way. I was born behind the 8 ball, like so many people out there. I mean, right now I'm a special education teacher and a history teacher at the same time in an inner city school. And I see all these kids that are struggling, all these kids that come from the wrong side of the track. And it's like, guess what? Me too. That was me. You know what I'm saying? And I climbed. Sometimes I climbed on just the pure energy of maybe like the anger that was inside me that put a fire in my belly that said, I'm not going to be the man that my father was. I'm going to be a better man because my future wife, my future children deserve a better man in their life than the man that I had in my life. And then my profession, my students deserve a better man in their life. And that's me. My athletes deserve a better man in their life. And that's me. You know what I'm saying? And this better man is always getting better and better and better because not only do I deserve it, but everybody I interact with deserves it too. You know what I'm saying? So that's who I am. And I wasn't born this way. Trust me. And in 10 years, I hope to look back at tonight, Chaz, and say, man, I was still just a freshman 10 years ago when me and Chaz were having that talk.
Oh, I love it.
I'm hoping to still.
Hey, he's bringing the heat. He's warming up. He's warming up. He's on fire. He's bringing it. Hey, I love your energy, Dan, man. That stuff's infectious. Thank you so much for going even deeper. You said so much gold there, and the biggest thing, and I'm paraphrasing that out of the scope of what you shared, was you did not end up being a victim of your circumstances, but you became victorious in your circumstances. And you know what? Because you came victorious, because you had that experience that got you to where you are today, when that young man or that young woman comes to you for advice, you're able to share your experiences on some things that young person maybe even be going through at that time that you experienced in your childhood. And they're going to say, hey, Dan did it, I can do it. Chaz did it, I can do it. If they overcame that situation, that circumstance, that frustration, that sadness, that anger, that oppressed child experience or circumstance or relationship, I mean, we can draw the line and plug in the blanks. But if they can do it, I can do it. And you are a hope maker. You are installing hope. You are being oxygen to a suffocating individual. And I appreciate you for doing that, Dan. And you're definitely blessing my audience. And it kind of moves me into this question for you. So, looking on your journey, building up, being a speaker, author, teacher, TV host, what do you feel like is something that the youth struggle with today that you can provide a tip or technique to help them get through?
Well, I can say this, Chaz. Here I am, the guy, 14 years of college, 7 degrees. Now, remember, I told you I was the kid that couldn't read that well. I was a little self-conscious of my academic abilities. I was telling my son, I think he's getting ready to he just took the PSATs. And I'm like, I think I scored like 700 something. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? But, but here I am today. 14 years of college, 7 degrees, written 30 books. So many of them have hit the best-selling list, right? People talk to me all the time. They're like, how did you get so smart? And I'm like, whoa, time out, hold on. Like maybe I play a smart guy on TV. I don't know. But here's the deal. I'm really not that smart. You know what I'm saying? I'm very, very hardworking. And I screw up all the time. I make so many mistakes. My mind goes blank sometimes. I need a couple extra seconds to process things. And I ask people what? Sometimes what? Like 3 times. And then they get mad because it's repeated. And I'm like, oh yeah. And they're like, oh man, if you knew it was the yellow one, why'd you keep asking? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, just give me a moment. I had to think about it. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, here it is. I'm still in a ways that struggling kid in an adult body. But I've learned to do 2 things very different over the years. And one of them is effort always exceeds talent. You know what I'm saying? Talent will only take you so far. You got to have the effort. That's what brings you to where you can go. All right. And the second thing is you got to just forgive yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got to like let up a little bit sometimes on the self-criticism. I can walk away saying, oh man, I totally knew that. I should have said this, but I didn't say this. Man, I'm a dummy for forgetting to say that. We could beat ourselves up all day long over stuff we didn't say that we should have said. Or maybe when we said, hey, Frankie, how you doing? And he looks at it, he goes, my name is Richie. And it's like, oh, dang. You know what I'm saying? Richie? Yeah, that's right. I knew your name was Richie. You know what I'm saying? We can beat ourselves up verbally, even if it's just silent self-talk. We can beat ourselves up all day for our mistakes. And we got to just let that stuff go and say, you know what? I don't have to be perfect. Matter of fact, if I'm not perfect, that's good, because then it looks like I'm giving hope for others. If I look too polished, you know what I'm saying? People may think that they can never relate to me if I look too polished. But if I screw up once in a while, you know what I'm saying? I give hope. I give hope to others who can say, you know what? I like Dan. He's down to earth. He's like one of us. You know what I'm saying? He makes mistakes. He doesn't jump on people who make mistakes because he knows he makes mistakes too. And then he forgives himself for making the mistakes. He doesn't beat himself up for making the mistakes. And you know what? That's the kind of guy I want to be around, because that's the kind of guy that will make me feel all right just being myself and taking baby steps. You know what I'm saying? At getting better and becoming the person that I can become. And that's it. We got to give people permission to take those baby steps to become the person they're going to become and allow them to make the mistakes. But we'll never be that kind of man or that kind of woman or person if we have beaten ourselves up. So we just got to forgive that. So forgive yourself. Don't beat yourselves up. Watch your negative self-talk. And remember, you can always get back up tomorrow and try again. You know what I'm saying? As long as you've got that effort, keep using that effort, and try again. Get back up, try again. Don't beat yourself up. And when you're that type of person, you're not going to beat others up either. And they're going to like you and they'll want to be around you. And they're going to put their journey maybe a little bit in your hands, because you're doing a thing that's called inspirational leadership. But you're doing it on a down to earth level. You know what I'm saying? Where people relate to you. And that's that, man.
Boom.
Boom.
Hey, I hope hopefully you took my advice at the beginning. I always warn you, get your pen and paper. If you didn't, it's okay. Go ahead and pause it and go ahead and get your pen and paper, rewind it back. Daniel gave some gold there. Effort exceeds talent, and forgive yourself. Let's camp out there for a minute, forgiving yourself. I mean, we are so hard on ourselves, right? We are our worst enemies when things don't go the way that you plan out. I love John Maxwell's work. He shared in his book Leadership, you should always write your goals in concrete and write your plans in the sand. And so many times, if you ever been on the ocean, you see that sand and that wave come. Let's say if you're creating that sand castle, you write your name or whatever the case may be in that sand, and that wave come up. What it does, it normally washes things away, and then you have to replan, relocate, kind of switch things up. And a lot of times, we can have that goal and and if our plan don't work out the way that we set it out to that first time, what do? We just kind of toss it all to the side and we give up. Denzel Washington, he says that we have to fail forward, knowing to forgive yourself, learn from your mistakes, take those lessons and get back up and keep going. So that's so important. I wanted to hone on that one, is forgiving yourselves, because and I'm talking to myself. I've done speeches and after you get off stage, you're just kind of like, man, I should have said that. I mean, man, you're speaking about language of things that you have to constantly renew your mind. And one of the things that helped me to kind of overcome that whole concept of forgiving yourself is knowing that things is not always about Chaz Jackson. What I shared on that stage, or on that phone call, or on this podcast, it is what God wanted me to share. That's what I was brought to bring to light at that moment. Everything was perfect. If I messed up, then that's a lesson that I was supposed to learn in that moment. So really, really taking heed of that. So that was good what you shared, Dan.
Coach, if I could piggyback on that little plans in the sand, if you don't mind. I thought that
Yes,
was
sir.
a really cool analogy, and it reminded me something of like what Anthony Robbins said many years ago, when Anthony Robbins talked about we often like underestimate. Let me back up a little bit. We often overestimate what we can accomplish in a day, which I do all the time. I get this long list of things to do every day, and every night I'm looking at that list going, man, I didn't get to this, I didn't get to that, I didn't do this. And again, you could beat yourself up saying, what am I doing, man? Am I not working hard enough? Am I just not smart enough? How come I can only get done, let's say, like 5 things out of 15, like every day? You know what I'm saying? So you could beat yourself up with that. But like, I think back to what, and don't beat yourself up over that. You can't do that. Because I think back what Anthony Robbins said. He goes, listen, we often overestimate what we can accomplish in a day. You know what I'm saying? He goes, and underestimate what we can accomplish in a year. So now, I'm not accomplishing those 15 things every day. I'm trying to, and I really am trying to accomplish, let's say, 15 things a day. And, I'm consistently getting 5 or 6, 7 things done in a day. And that's frustrating me. But think about this. If you do 5 things a day and you do the 300 and, whatever it is, 65 days a year, 5 things a day, you've accomplished a lot over a year, probably way more than you thought you could have accomplished over a year. And I always tell people, before when I was a lot younger, Chaz, people would come to me and they'd ask me, how'd you get those big muscles you had, from lifting weights? I would tell them, give them techniques and strategies about lifting weights, and programs to do. And they'd say, how long does it take? I go, about 2 years it's going to take. They say, oh man, that's too long. I don't want to do it for 2 years. And I'm like, listen, man, 2 years going to go by no matter what, right? So 2 years from now, you can have the girls not catching your eye, or not, or you can have the girls turning around saying, who's that guy? Saying what you had to do, and you accomplished a lot in 2 years, right? So I remember telling people way back, when I was a young buck, when it came to physical fitness, right? But then later on, when I took those skills and I transferred them to like the real world, of success in the real world outside of, let's say, like sports and lifting weights, it's the same principle. A year is going to go by. 2 years going to go by. You know what I'm saying? And you'd be amazed at what you can accomplish if you put your mind to it and, let's say, maybe pop out those 5 things a day, and then don't beat yourself up because you didn't get to all 15 of them. You know what I'm saying? But make sure you get to, maybe the 5 most important, and don't beat yourself up because you didn't get to all 15. So like Tony Robbins said, like that little analogy in the beach there with the wave, Chaz, totally brought me back to Tony Robbins, who, if anybody hasn't read his book back in the 80s, Awaken the Giant Within,
Mm,
Jump on it, man. It's a good read. You're going to
yeah.
love it. That was the first book I read that I absolutely fell in love with, that just changed my life.
And I know Tony was a big inspiration for you, right?
Oh,
Was that the book?
absolutely. Absolutely. So I would tell everybody in the audience, definitely check out Tony Robbins' book of Awaken the Giant Within, and make sure you follow, obviously, me and Chaz, because we got some pretty good information too.
Most definitely. And that kind of carries me into the next question, going back to the theme of this whole episode 21 of Granddaddy Secrets. I know a lot of your work's been around that whole theme. Can you share with the audience a little bit more about what that means to you?
Yeah, absolutely. See, the funny thing is, a lot of the people who didn't meet me in the beginning, who were like reading my books, my blogs, my columns, maybe listening to me on the radio or podcast or whatever, when they finally meet me, they always said, "Wow." They're like, "I thought you'd be a lot older." And
All
like,
the
no,
Granddaddy
no,
Secrets
like,
that kind of.
they thought I was like a granddaddy, 14 years to college, 7 degrees, and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, no. So they're like, okay, so then you got this from your granddaddy, all this wisdom, because your wisdom seems to be beyond your years. They're like, so you must have got this from your granddaddy. And I said, nah, both of my granddaddies died when I was just a tyke, just a little thing. I barely remember them. And they're like, well, where'd this come from? I said, well, here's the deal. I just kind of learned a lot of this stuff on my own. But one of the bigger things is, when I was growing up, many times I wish that I had a granddaddy, because I thought my granddaddy would be kind, opposite of my father, who was always stressed out. You know what I'm saying? So I figured my granddaddy, be father life, he'd be kind, he'd be wise, he'd be patient, he'd have a listening ear, a shoulder for me to lean on. He'd be able to point me the right direction. And when I started thinking about all the benefits that a granddaddy could bring me, I started thinking, I can't be the only kid thinking this, wishing he had a granddaddy, because maybe he's living in a pretty bad situation right now with parents that are stressed out, parents that are overwhelmed, maybe parents that are drug dependent, alcohol dependent, parents that are just dealing with their own junk and can't freaking do what they need to do. You know what I'm saying? And so I can't be the only kid out there saying, I wish I had a granddaddy that would kind of come in and help. You know what I'm saying? So then that's when I said, I go, you know what? I said, why not? Why not go this Granddaddy Secrets? So to compound this, I started working the other way too, because I started seeing, as a teacher, I would see substitute teachers come in some days, and many times they'd be like really old people that would come in, sometimes like Vietnam veterans would come in, and I would see the students give them a hard time, saying, oh man, they're just old people. They don't know nothing. And I'd be like, are you kidding me? You know how naive you're being right now? It's a Vietnam vet. You know what I'm saying? That guy's got a degree. You know what I'm saying? That guy's raised a family, helped the grandkids. He's been an active community participant. You know what I'm saying? And then I would see the other way too, Chaz. I would see sometimes old people being like, today's youth don't listen to me. I got nothing to really contribute. They don't want to hear me. And I'd be like, whoa, hold on. You are very valuable. The youth needs you, whether they come out and say it or not. If they act the opposite or not, it doesn't matter. The youth needs the older generation to be involved in their lives. And then the youth needs to stop being so naive, because those older people are not just old people. They are freaking nuggets of freaking wisdom, golden nuggets, gatekeepers of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? That's who they are. So I want to increase that exchange between the youth and the grandparents, because sometimes the parents are overwhelmed. So I want to exchange that increase that highway interaction, and then throw that into everything else. That I said before about people saying, well, I thought you were older. I can't be the only kid going through life wishing they had a granddaddy or maybe a grandma that they could count on, that would be for them, kind, patient, all the wise, all those sort of things that we could all use, that our youth today need, and unfortunately are not getting.
Dude, how awesome is our grandparents? And if you're fortunate to have one, and I'm certified in physical therapy, and I've worked in skilled nursing uh, on many occasions, and being able to be around those old people. One of my favorite questions whenever I meet an Army vet or an older individual that's traveled all over the world, I always ask them this question: what is the greatest lesson you've ever learned on your journey? And you'll be amazed at some of the things that this geriatric population will say. And Granddaddy secrets. That's phenomenal. Thank you so much for what you're doing for young people, and bringing in or narrowing that gap between the older generation and the younger generation. And you're right. The older population definitely can lay some gold and some nuggets that we can all take, and man, they experienced it all. Even with restaurants, it's funny. Even my wife, she thinks I'm silly, but if I see a whole bunch of older people going in a certain restaurant and not going in another one, I know that's got to be a great restaurant because they've been here a lot longer than me. so,
Yeah.
so I'm following them. They done experienced a lot more than me. Just something as simple as that. So we definitely, because success leaves clues, right? I mean, and gosh, man, they like you said, they have that season battles in store of having that experience. And I encourage any young person that's listening to this right now, know you're there. Definitely get you some older mentors. I love the 33% rule with Ty Lopez. He's a phenomenal entrepreneur guy. And he says each is 3 levels of 33%. He says 33% of the people that you're around should be above you. The other 33% in the middle is people that's kind of on your playing field. And that other 33% below you should be someone that's kind of looking up to you, who you can kind of pour back into, like that young people. So make sure that higher 33%, and that's kind of where I'm getting with that older population that's kind of has some success and kind of hit the road breaking as far as developing themselves and making some accomplishments. We got to make sure we have that 33% because sometimes we miss out on that. But yeah, definitely. And kind of dive deep a little bit more. Now, I know you said that you have a surprise for the audience. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll get to that in 1 second. I just want to piggyback on what you just said. Another thing that I truly believe when you're talking about your 33%, some above you, some below you, every single person we meet, we can learn something from, and they can learn something from us. Every single person we meet are superior to us in some way and inferior to us in some way. So we can teach every single person we meet. We can teach them something. They can teach us something. What a wonderful trade that is. You know what I'm saying? That's the world a better place. You know what I'm saying? Create better people, make the world a better place. So this little treat, Chaz, that I'm sending to your way and to your audience's way is I want them to have the ability to get my book, The Storm, How Young Men Become Good Men. I want them to get the Kindle version for free. Okay. And it's free today. It ends at midnight for your audience.
Nice.
That's California. So it'd be like 3 a.m. Eastern time, New York time, whatever. But basically midnight Pacific time, it ends. So they just go on Amazon, type in Dan Blanchard, and then type in The Storm. And it's right there. Just click on the Kindle, the ebook, and then right to the right-hand side, it'll say buy for 000. Just click on that. It will download right to their phone. They don't need no Kindle device or nothing like that. It just goes right to their phone, and they get it for free. It's a best-selling book. It's hit #1 a couple times. You know what I'm saying? It's an awesome book, and
Nice.
the audience is going to learn a lot. You're going to become a higher quality person from it.
Beautiful. And we'll drop that in the comments as well. So you can click on that, go get that value that Dan had put out there to the world, that contribute to the world. Thank you so much for blessing the audience with that book. And hey, you would not be sorry for getting on there and getting that free value there. So that's beautiful stuff. And let's give them a sneak peek, Dan. Obviously, the motto of this show is we're all gifted differently to make a difference. Is there one tip or technique that you're thinking about in that book that would help ignite the gift within a young male that's listening to you right now, whether it's from the case of them honing on discovering that gift and how to truly contribute that to the society for their generation and the next generation to come. How would you unleash that gift in the gift?
I would say this, and because I've dealt with so many young people, young men that have been maybe given been dealt a bad hand in life, and I want them to know that that's a gift in itself. You know what I'm saying? That's a little bit of a fire in their belly. That they've been knocked down and they've learned how to get back up. If you've never been knocked down, you don't know how to get up. So that's a gift. So I want them to look at themselves in the mirror and say, you know what? I've been knocked down a bunch and I've gotten up every time and I'll continue to get up. And maybe I got a little anger in my belly, but that's fine because that right there is energy. It's a little fire in my belly. It's an energy for me to go out and create the type of world, the type of life that I want to create for my future self, my future mate, my future children, my future family. You know what I'm saying? So I got it. And no one can stop me. No one can stop me from that. I can create what I want to create.
Yes, sir. I'm telling you, man, you got me fired up. I know the individual that's listening right now is fired up, whether it's a student, a teacher, a parent, a principal, youth advocate, pastor. You just brought gold to someone that's listening right now, and they're going to take that tip and technique and take the daily challenge on manifesting that to become a greater version of themselves. I truly believe that, Dan. Thank you for diving deep on that and sharing that tip and technique. Again, go download that book and definitely share with me and Dan something that you took away from this episode 21 and from that book. I challenge you, young male. And Dan, gosh, man, you've covered so much. You gave so much value on this show, GNG Livestream podcast. I know that there's a young male, someone that's looking at you right now. They're listening to you. You've installed some hope in them, and they're like, I want to know how to reach out to this guy. I want to learn more to get to his blogs. I want to be able to see more of what he does. He is shining his light right now, and I want to be around that light more often. Can you share how someone can contact you?
Absolutely. And I love it when people do contact me. So granddaddysecrets.com, danblanchard.net. I'm on all the social media channels, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Pinterest. I have my own YouTube channel, Dan Blanchard. Check it out. Also on Mandalia TV. Dan Blanchard, you can check me out there. If you contact me, you reach out to me, you email me, I will email you back. Looking forward to it.
Beautiful, Dan. I love this quote by Isaac Newton. He said, if I've seen farther than others, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. And you're truly a giant, Dan Blanchard, man. Thank you so much for blessing me. I took down notes. I look forward to going back and listening to the replay myself and really diving into some of these tips and techniques that you provided for the audience on this show. Again, thank you so much for your time, your effort, your patience with me. And, man, you are such a light to the world. You are salt, making things good, and you are a light in darkness. And I know you're going to be doing so much more. You've done so much now for young people, parents, and teachers all around the world. But I know God has so much more planned for you moving forward. And I'm so blessed to have you on the show in 2020. And gosh, like you said, a decade from now, it's going to be amazing where you're going to be. And I have you just to look back on in 10 years, whenever you do make it even greater things happen. So thank you for making these memories with me.
Thank you for having me on the show, Chaz.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm going to go ahead and lead us out. I told each and every one of you, Dan will bring some gold. If you need me or him, please feel free to reach out. Let us know you're here. Drop in the comments a tip or technique that you took from this episode 21. I want each and every one of you to stay up with GNG. More episodes coming soon. I want each and every one of you to keep that crown on your heart. And please remember this. We are God's echo. I love each and every one of you. Peace.
Thank you for listening to GNG Podcast. Remember, you are gifted differently to make a difference. Please visit ChazJacksonSpeaks.org and let's continue to grow together. God bless.